And it also links to something you said in your new book, Same as Ever, where you speak about how sometimes in life, like hitting rock bottom is the greatest incentive to change our lives.
Yeah.
So I put those two things together and go, that moment when two of your friends died on a ski trip that you were on when you were younger, it had an impact on your risk appetite and your attitude towards, and therefore your attitude towards money.
Yep.
What happened? What happened?
So I grew up skiing in Lake Tahoe, California, and I was a competitive ski racer.
Right.
So all throughout my childhood and teenage years, I skied 6 days a week, 10 months a year, all over the world. And it was great. There were about 12 of us on the Squaw Valley ski team. We had grown up together and we'd spent our entire lives together. And when I was 17, this is in 2001, I was skiing with my two of my best friends, Brendan Allen and Brian Richmond. And we would ski out of bounds, which is illegal. You're not supposed to do it. We would duck under the rope that says do not cross, and we'd ski out of bounds because that's where a lot of the good skiing is. And when we would do this, it would spit us out on this backcountry road where we'd have to hitchhike back. There's no chairlift when you ski out of bounds. You have to hitchhike your way back. So we did it one morning in February 2001. The three of us did it. And when we did it, we triggered a very small avalanche. And I remembered it so clearly. Like I can still feel it 22 years later. I can still feel what it's like. It's the weirdest sensation that I've had in my life, because when you get hit by an avalanche, rather than pushing on the snow to gain traction with your skis, the ground is pushing you. So all of a sudden, you're skiing along and you got control, and all of a sudden, boom, you have no control anymore. The ground is pushing you around. Probably similar to what it feels like if you're standing on the ground during an earthquake. Like the ground's pushing you. But it was a pretty small avalanche, maybe came up to our knees, ended pretty quickly. And we kind of like literally high-fived about it at the bottom and went about our day. We get back around to the base lodge. We hitchhiked back. And Brendan and Brian said they wanted to do it again. They wanted to ski again. And I said, hey, for whatever reason, I just didn't want to do it. So I said, hey, rather than hitchhiking back, why don't you guys go do it again? And I'll drive my truck around and pick you up. So we said, great. We made our plans, went our separate ways. They went skiing. I went back around to take my boots off and jump in my truck and go pick them up. 20, 30 minutes later, I go to pick them up at the pickup spot and they weren't there. And I knew it only took us a minute to ski down the hill. So 20 minutes later, I knew like they weren't coming. I was not worried. I figured that they had already hitchhiked home. But so after waiting for another 20 or 30 minutes, I just left and went back to the lodge. I expected them to be there and they weren't. And I still didn't really worry. Like we didn't have cell phones back then and people were just comfortable being out of touch. If you didn't know where your buddy was, like it wasn't that big a deal. So we went about the day. I started worrying a little bit.